Hey, what's up, fam? Thank y'all for tuning in once again. As always, be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And when you do subscribe, hit the notification bell so every time I drop a video, you will be the first to know about it. How many times have we said, or have you heard people say racism is not going anywhere? You remember when Barack Obama became president, and you had people who sillily, ignorantly said, "Hey, racism, there's no more racism because we got a black president." Barack Obama daddy was not a black American. And, daddy was Kenyan, if I ain't mistaken, and his mama was white. Come on now. But then Donald Trump becomes president, and everybody says, "Oh man, racism is back because Donald Trump is president." It's like, wow, really? You mean that there was no racism for 4 years or 8 years, and all of a sudden it's back because man became president? Amazing how things were suppressed and changed just that quick. But move on. And so, we got racial tension in this country. Always have, probably, and I feel always will. I've told stories about how my mom would tell me stories of her growing up in a little small town in Arkansas and the racism she endured. And my dad, he'll say he don't felt that he dealt it. But see, when you define racism, people will define it differently. Like some people would think that if a white person didn't, call you the N-word every day, didn't make you walk on the other side of the sidewalk, didn't lynch your uncle last night, or went and assaulted your grandma or your mama in front of all the kids and her husband, then they wasn't racist. But a lot of times racism can be, you stay on one side of the tracks, we stay on the other side of the tracks. We don't really intermingle. Everything is fine because people know humans are human. It may not like you, but so let's say prejudice. I'm sure there's prejudice. Racism is more of a controlled thing. And a lot of times, our people didn't know we was being controlled. So they wouldn't know the difference, wouldn't know the difference between racism, prejudice, being controlled, and being free. That's just, how it goes. When my mom would talk about how, there was racist people, in that town, they were, they had like a race riot back in the early 1900s that nobody talked about. Now, them folks love it when you play sports, and they don't get it twisted. That's because you play sports and can run that ball, play ball, help the city win, the high school win games and championships. They'll let you do that, but try to be a coach or try to run a team or run a school or be a teacher back in, it wasn't happening. It wasn't happening. But like I say, however you define it is your own definition. But anyway, I say that to say this. There is a story that came out a few days ago where a school board, or maybe it's a county board in Virginia, they voted on changing the name of high schools back. Now, you remember George Floyd, and when that happened, everything changed. What's that? Like Confederate. One of the things was like Confederate monuments, statues, and schools had to be wiped off the face of the earth, which they should have, because again, you lost. The Confederates, the South, you lost the Civil War, so you shouldn't have statues commemorating and honoring what you did, because it was treason. You went against the good of the country for the most part. And you can say what the reasons why, slavery. A lot of people saying, because Abraham Lincoln said, hey, if he could have kept the slaves and kept the country intact, he would have never thought about, doing a civil war or abolishing slavery. But because it was dividing the country, which it should have, he's like, we got to get rid of it. And we got to do this a different way. So, I mean, like I said, you can, whatever reason you want to go with, or whatever reason was, whatever reason everything happened, it is what it is. The bottom line is, I can't think of a time in anywhere, and maybe if I'm wrong, tell me below, but where are there monuments for anybody, any person, anything in the world, anytime in history, where the loser have monuments and they're celebrated for getting their butt whooped, for losing an outright war? If you can find it, let me know. Now, I'm not saying you can't mention it, because you have to mention it in history, which is where it belongs, the history books. That's it, documentaries. But not statues saying, hey, here's the general who wanted to try to keep slavery and try to keep the South, where they was at, and Northern was hating on them. And that's why we're going to keep it up because, he was a great general. No, the dude wanted to keep slavery. Want to keep slavery still. Anyway, let's get to the story. This is from NPR.org, and it reads, a Virginia county board votes to restore Confederates' names to school. Now, this was, when I saw this, I'm like, are you serious? 2024. Like I said, racism is not going anywhere. So what we're going to have to do is figure out a way to work around it. I'll get into it. Hold on just a second. It says Shenandoah County School Board in Virginia will restore the names of Confederate generals Thomas Stonewall Jackson, Robert E. Lee, and Turner Ashby to 2 local schools. The controversial reversal comes nearly 4 years after the names were changed. Mountain View High School will revert to its former name, Stonewall Jackson High School, and Honey Run Elementary School will go back to being Ashby Lee Elementary. The board approved the change by a 5-1 vote. This is crazy, with supporters saying the Confederate figures' names had been taken off the school in 2020 in a knee-jerk reaction amid protests of George Floyd's murder by police. Let me tell you what the problem with this is. One, George Floyd. I said it before. I hate, what I'm saying? What happened to him shouldn't have happened. You can think of, you can debate about the reasoning and why, but it happened. But what it does is it puts an asterisk, and I'm going to say it puts a stain on what we as Black Americans try to accomplish because of who George Floyd was. Or maybe because of who he wasn't. George Floyd was for whatever reason, had a rap sheet, former, known drug user, and apparently had fentanyl drugs in his system. Now, like I said, it does not advocate or does not make it to where I'm saying, hey, because he didn't have a clean record, he should have died. Heck no. If he was outside, if he was passing fake bills or selling loose cigarettes or whatever to say he was doing, he should just got either, at the most, handcuffed, taken to jail. Not his life. His life shouldn't have been taken from him. Period. You do a little crime, you do a little time, you pay for it. It's simple as that. But they used him as a martyr. They got statues, they got murals. That's a problem. And we don't, and the problem is we as a people don't see it as a problem, but it is. I would rather you see a Tamir Rice statue all over the country. Rather Trayvon Martin statues and murals all over the country, bills, signs in their name. Not people who got rap sheets, who may or may not have been doing something that they shouldn't have been doing legally. It's just not a good look because why? And I've said that before, and this is one of the reasons why. Because now them folk will have a reason to say, you want to make a known drug user, criminal with a long rap sheet, a person I think who has a history of violence against women. I don't know, but I think I did hear that. You want to make him a martyr, make statues out of him, make murals out of him, pass laws because of him. But yet you want us to get rid of generals, people who tried to save their part of the country, the South, the Confederate States. And because the Confederate states were making money, albeit from slave labor, which eventually would have went away because once the cotton gin came around, you didn't need slaves like that no more. But anyway, they was trying to do was what we feel was right for our country. You want us to get rid of them? Make an argument. And logistically, you can't. You really can't. So that's why I'm like, dude, we got to push for people who are, if you're going to talk about police brutality, because the system does need to change. We've all agreed. We don't need to defund the police. We don't need to get rid of them. What we need to do is find a system, use a system like they use overseas, to where, hey, you train police for at least 2 years before you even think about getting out on the beat, because this is life and death. You making decisions, and you got to have thorough training, and then retraining and stuff like that over time, so they can keep their sanity and keep their mind right on the job. You got to do it. That's how you do it, and then destroy the system that we got and revamp it. That's what I push for. So yeah, we need, like I said, you got to change the police system. But again, using George Floyd for that, I felt from the beginning was not the right thing to do, because of reasons like this. Because of reasons like that, take the emotions out of it and go with what the facts is. Because a lot of times people always want to know why people ain't being nice, why they doing that. Forget the why. It gets to a point in time to where you can't, you're supposed to ask why till you can't ask why no more. And once you're done asking why, it's like, okay, look, this is what it is. All right. So now how do we work? How do we adjust our lives accordingly to either work with it or work around it? But them people gonna be them people. You gonna be you. So what's gonna have to change? Only you are controlling with how you change. Only you can do it. And it's kind of hard to make them change when they run the country, damn near the world. Debate over changing the name began last month as member station WMRA reports. It was a second attempt to restore the name after a failed trial 2022. Damn, they didn't know about that. At the contentious and lengthy meeting saw advocates from both sides drew raucous cheers and ovations from the supporters. Man, the public session started around 7 p.m. Thursday, stretching to early hours of Friday. Dang. Here's what the students said. Now, here's why I'm saying, okay, let's go here first. A handful of students attended the meeting, including several who said the current names represent inclusion and progress and should be kept. School board minutes from 1959 revealed that the decision to name our school after Stonewall Jackson was a product of massive resistance. So you got but a few. I say it only takes a few to make a big change, which is why, again, I'm reading this now, how to change a law. And shoot, once I get done with it and conclude with it, hopefully I can bring some of the things that I learned in that to you guys in some of my videos, in some of my future videos. It said, but yeah, how to change the law. It only takes a few to make a difference, right? Says student Priya Dua, referring to an era when Virginia's leaders were aggressively fighting attempts to racially integrate the state school. Like some of the other students who spoke, Dua attends classes at Mountain View High School as part of her curriculum at the Massanutten Regional Governor's School, a program that draws students from several school systems. Quote, I acknowledge that the community has been left divided and unhappy over the initial name change, Dua said, but she asked the board, by taking this step backwards in 2024, what foot are we putting forward? What legacy are you leaving behind for my generation? They don't care. They're just racist. They're racist and they can't give it up. It's as simple as that. Jesse Lee Peterson, a person that a lot of people don't know, so we look at him as what they call him, like a coon, a sellout, whatever the case may be. But he said something. I remember he asked the guy a question. He says, I think he asked somebody like, do you believe in racism? No. He said it was no racism. And the other guy said, yes, it is. He's like, no, it's not. Yes, it is. No, it's not. They're going back and forth. He said, it's not racism. It's good and evil. When you break it down to just understand that it's about good and evil, when you take it biblical, it's just good and evil. When you can see it like that, you can probably better fight it. Probably better live. Now you got to understand that the world, that this country is like, a lot of it's built on racism, behind racism, created on racism. But really, it's good and evil. When you understand that people are good and people are evil, when you can separate the two, then you as a good person should be able to know how to fight the evil. And you'll get rid of the racism. You get rid of the bigotry. You get rid of the hatred or whatever, the murders, the thefts, the assaults. You can deal with all that. and be able to tame all that. Because people are going to feel how they want to feel. People are going to want to do what they want to do. The thing is, what are you going to do to combat it? So like I say, people are just evil, man. Another student, Eden Shellhammer, criticized the board for investing time and energy into what she called a clearly divisive argument at the expense of important issues, while also seeming to refuse to consider the students' opinions. Let's say the fact that this discussion is receiving a disproportionately vast amount of attention from the county deeply disappoints me, she said, and leads me to wonder whether we are operating in the interest of our students or the preservation of our parents' pride. And that's what it is. But I go back to, like I was saying earlier, like my mom tells me the story about when she was growing up in the racism she dealt with. And I thought to myself, wait a minute, if she's telling me these stories and she's telling my kids these stories, or I'm telling my kids these stories, you know, the people that put her through that was racist and put her through the bigotry and the hate and the racism and the stuff like that, the prejudice, they're telling their kids and their grandkids their side of the story. And so that spirit is still there. So no, racism is not going anywhere. It is not, probably not for a long time. And I'm looking at this story and I'm noticing that all the people who are saying something in this are females, which I got nothing against it, but I want to know, where are the young men? Junior high school, because I remember me being in junior high and high school, man. Shit, we had like a thing called Black Watch meet. We were playing on or going after the X-Clan rap group, and we was all into that. So we would have Black Watch meetings at school, you know, talking to other students, fellas, men, boys. So I'm looking at this as like, where are all the boys at? The males in these conversations. Were they at home playing video games while the women are out here? I would have to represent a man that fought for my ancestors to be slaves, she said, adding that she would feel as if she was being disrespectful both to her ancestors and to her family values. Exactly. So why? But these people don't even care. She said, it's your job to make our schools a place where all students are valued and respected, Ogle said. She later added, if this board decides to restore the names, I would not feel like I was valued and respected, and you would not be doing your job. Now, here comes the part that validates what I'm saying, that racism is being taught to the kids and it's not going anywhere. Other students spoke in favor of changing the school's name. My last name goes back 6 generations of conservative farmers in this county, Senior Trey Heichman said, adding that his family and himself have paid their taxes. Now, people who in favor of the school, it's the guys talking. In favor of the school going back to the racist Confederate generals, it's men talking. But for the ones who want to keep it, you know, neutral and not hurt nobody's feelings, it's females talking. Understand that. That's why I say, where are the guys at on the other side? Because when you got fellas that are talking, a lot of times things are heard. What does he say? Heichman said he is poised to graduate from Mountain View, but he added, I'm hoping that my fellow friends who are juniors at the school can see that the name has been changed and they can graduate under SJHS. Carter Heichman, an 8th grader, that's family. And the whole family coming here. An 8th grader who was an athlete and a member of the Future Farmers of America. They still got that? I also asked the board to restore the Stonewall Jackson name. I would like to wear a name that I'm proud of, he said. Not only do I want to have my FFA jacket say Stonewall as I enter high school, but I would love to have my jerseys, which I wear all year round, say Stonewall. Lord have mercy. Say residents speaking in favor of reverting to the Confederate name, including Stewart. That'll week. These names are not, these are weird names. These names sound like names of people who migrated over here, who know that his family roots run deep in the community where his ancestors received land grants in the decades before the American Revolution. When you vote on the name restoration, will you listen to the opinions of woke outsiders who have, for the most part, no ties to the land, the history, or the culture of the county. Ditterwick ask the board members, or will you listen to the voice of the people who elected you to represent them? The people whose families built and have sustained this county for generations. We are the majority, says Ditterwick. That's the way government works. Amazing. Which lets you know that we ain't gonna never let the way they talk. We ain't gonna never have a word. This board has a moral and ethical obligation to the citizens you represent to undo the dirtiest, most underhanded political stunt in the history of Shenandoah County politics. Man, do I need to read more? Do I need to read more? But hold on. Here goes somebody else who's in opposition to the change. And again, it's a female, black female. Where are the black men? But another citizen who spoke up was Stephanie Bullock Smith, a black woman who graduated from Stonewall High School in 1983. It's time to move on, she told the board. Please do not go back in history, she said. We do not need that. Our children don't need that either. But they say several board members who supported reverting the names back to Confederate eponyms said that in the debate over the legacy of slavery and racism, critics have seemingly ignored school buildings that still bear the names of historic figures who owned enslaved people, including the namesake of Peter Mulberg Middle School, where Thursday meeting convened. So I think all was politically driven. Yeah, it's politically driven. I'm gonna let y'all read the rest of this. I'm almost done with it, but all I want to say is, hey, racism's still around. You're not going to end it, not going to get rid of no time soon. So I really think we need to start making it a focal point of our arguments. I think we just need to just go out and just say, hey, this is what we need, this is what we deserve, this is what we demand. Forget the racism. Let's just keep it good and keep it on the fight of good and evil. I think we may get further than that. But in the back of my mind, I'm always going to understand the racial aspect of all this. So don't get me twisted. Don't get it twisted at all. But I think we might have to make a different approach because these people are still in power. They still got control. So what we have to do is figure out a way to gain power and control ourselves. This is an age, like I said, there is a transition. Things are being reset. And we just got to get ready for it. We got to be part of it and don't just sit back and hope somebody else is going to change because they're not. It's going to be us, but we got to change for the better. Not talking about cowering away, but changing for the better for our people. But anyway, tell me what you think about this story. Leave your comments below. Share it with the world. Let's have a dialogue. You know how we do it around here. Support the channel. 4 ways you can support non-monetarily. Like, share, comment, or subscribe. Don't cost you a thing, but maybe a couple minutes out your day helps boost the channel, video, and the algorithm. But if you do want to help monetarily, there are links that you can give a super chat, super things, or there are links in the description box you can click on and help that way. But with that being said, I'll leave you in peace and I'll see you on the other side.